What's up, you fucking maniacs? It's so fucking good to see you again. I'm Al from Horror on Air. Bet you forgot about me, didn't you? I forgot about me for a while. Uh, Sitting here in our new studio. Compliments of Mr. Corduroy. Apparently he's a fan. I'm still not sure what he's doing to Henry over there. But let's just say if it's butt stuff, Henry's gonna be in diapers the rest of his life. Um, it's a little late. Uh, Using the old coffee to keep going. But recently, done a couple of TikToks, shared them on Instagram and on YouTube. Doing little reenactments. It's a really fucking good time. It's a lot of fun doing those. Can't wait till Henry's able to help me out with those because the possibilities are limitless. Un- the possi We're only limited to our imagination. Anyhow, yeah, those are a lot of fun to do, and I like doing those, especially movies that not a lot of people are going to pick up on those lines and those scenes right away. Got a pretty good reaction out of it. I think a lot of y'all liked them, um, so we're gonna keep rolling with that as part of our thing. But tonight I'm sitting here to talk about those two movies with you just a little bit. Uh, Not going to do like a deep dive. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Intruder from 1989 or Event Horizon from 1997, stop watching right now. Stop the video. Go and watch them. I swear to you. Swear to you. At least I would hope. You wouldn't be disappointed because they're absolute horror gems. The first one I did was from Event Horizon. Event Horizon is probably one of those that will always be a favorite of mine. Um, Even though a lot of things were rushed on that movie, it suffered from 90s CGI. Um, a lot of stuff was cut out and lost for fucking ever, unfortunately. It's a great movie, and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because I have to say it. But everybody says it, and I didn't want to say it, but everybody says it, and then I didn't want to say it because everybody says it, but it's true, so I have to fucking say it. It's Hellraiser in space. Okay, um, not to say there's Cenobites coming, and there's a puzzle box and all that shit. Like the aesthetic, though, the overall feeling that you get from Hellraiser, you get in this movie. Um, it is absolutely one of the creepiest uh, sci-fi horror movies out there. If you really sit down and watch it and you let your mind go on that trip. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, but this ship was built that was supposed to be able to travel faster than the speed of light. And it was designed by Sam Neill's character, William Weir. Um, and he explains it creates like a wormhole and travels through space, and it folds space and time and travels through it, and then, you know, goes back to normal. Um, and it disappears. Well, I think a few years go by, and all of a sudden, boom, it shows back up and it's in Neptune's orbit. Um, so they send out a rescue mission because they can't make contact with them. Except for one absolutely fucking terrifying message that they got from it, um, which would have immediately made me not fucking go. Uh, First off, when motherfuckers are speaking Latin, you ought to know the devil's involved. Satan himself is making somebody speak Latin because nobody speaks that shit anymore. When somebody's speaking to you, saying shit in Latin, get the fuck away from them. Maybe find them a priest. I don't know. Whatever your beliefs are, I don't know. Whatever. But I'm staying the fuck out. Um, but so that was the only communication they had with this place, getting this fucking recording of absolutely terrifying screams and someone speaking in Latin, uh, liberate tutime, or what the fuck ever he says. I don't know. Goddamn scary is what it is. Everybody just seems on board to run right into this. And when they get there, they go on board the ship to check it out and everything, and shit immediately starts going wrong. Never could have seen that coming, you fucking maniacs. They find a fucking like frozen body fucking just floating around and they're all fucked up and everything. Uh, and the crew of the Event Horizon is kind of all over the place. Like ass, blood, and guts. Like just smeared on the walls and shit like that. Fucking skulls and shit. It's fucking gross. Um, and there's this like if the whole fucking like the hallway looks like this long like it almost looks like
Well, we're waiting.
it almost looks like stained glass window. Like it looks like a fucking church in there or something. It's creepy as hell. Um, and then the core of the ship. If you can't if you don't watch this and watch that when they go into the room where the core of the ship is, if that doesn't scream Hellraiser shit to you, I don't think you've ever seen Hellraiser. Because that shit looks like just like something out of a fucking Hellraiser movie to me. Um, Overall, I think the special effects are great in this movie. There are again, it suffers some from the '90s CGI shit, um, which there's not really anything you can do about that. But it's still a cool fucking movie, and um, this ship has brought back some. Wherever it went, it went to some other dimension, hell like dimension, whether it was hell or a dimension that is comparable to what people believe hell to be. Um, it brought something back with it, or the ship itself is possessed or has become something. I'm not sure how that works, but it literally starts preying on the crew that has come there to rescue the Event Horizon. Ultimately, it starts taking them out one by one. Who's the commander of the vessel that came to rescue? Um, he says, you know, we're gonna blow this ship up. We're getting the fuck out of here. And Dr. Weir says,
You can't leave. She won't let you.
You just get your gear and get back on the Lewis and Clark, Doctor, or you'll find yourself walking home.
I am home.
so at that moment, immediately you realize this motherfucker's crazy. Most of the crew is able to get away. Lawrence Fishburne sacrifices himself to take out the ship and to let his crew get away, which sucks because Captain Miller was a great character and Lawrence Fishburne did a great job bringing that to life. Sam Neill as Dr. Weir, creepy as fuck, especially when he really starts losing it. When he shows up, he's all fucking cut up and blood and shit all over the place. And he starts programming the ship to go back to the hell dimension and everything, and it's all kinds of fucked up. And then he gets sucked out of the goddamn ship. He shot some shit. Fucking the whole goddamn side of the fucking ship pops open. He goes flying out. And then like Lawrence Fishburne thinks, I guess, oh, I'm getting the fuck out of here now. And no, he was able to let everybody else get away, but all of a sudden, fucking Sam Neill's back and he's naked and all scarred up and he's got eyes again. Fucking weird. But yeah, overall, great fucking movie. If you haven't seen it, get it. Um, like I said, you might watch it, you might pick up on the fact it kind of feels rushed and everything. Apparently, it was a long shoot, and they had like almost no time in post production. So, yeah, like I said, it already suffered from the '90s CGI because in '90s CGI wasn't that great. Uh, but it was also kind of rushed to finish it. Um, I think the MPAA gave them some shit, and they had to cut they had to cut like 40 or 45 minutes or some shit out in order to get an R rating. If you haven't seen Event Horizon, or if you have and you just want to watch it again, and you got Paramount Plus streaming on there right now, so check that out. The second movie I did is one of my favorite slashers. Again, one that probably should have ended up somewhere in my top 10. But like we said in that first episode, our top 10s can change from day to fucking day. Um, I love all these movies so much, it's ridiculous. But this one, I hardly ever hear anybody talk about, and it hurts my feelings a little bit because it is a great slasher. It came out, like I said in the TikTok I did, it came out in '89, kind of right towards the end of that '80s slasher kick, and it suffers because of that. We got so oversaturated with slashers in the '80s that a lot of people fell off that wagon, and they were like, "Ah, no, I'm not." Mm-mm. Intruder um, was a feature-length version of a short that Scott Spiegel and Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and all those guys did back in their college days. They all worked on the Evil Dead stuff and all that years after Evil Dead came out. But Scott Spiegel was asked uh, if he had a movie that was would be cheap to make. Um, and this one short that they did was called Night Crew. It was all based in a grocery store. So this did not get a theatrical release. And I'm sure that hurt it too. So like top billing on this movie is they put Bruce Campbell like as one of the top names on this movie, and he's literally in the last like fucking uh minute and a half of the movie. Small, very very small fucking cameo. Um, and I think he just did it because they're all his friends, and he just, oh sure, I'll show up and do this a little bit. Um, but Sam Raimi plays the butcher in the grocery store. Ted Raimi is like the produce guy. The beginning kind of sets it up pretty good. You got these two girls that are working as cashiers, and some customers coming through, and one of them's ex boyfriend shows up, and that real like late '80s macho type, leather jacket type douche canoe. So starts pointing the fingers pretty early at that guy. Um, and when the owners of the grocery store are kind of talking to the crew about how well they handled the situation with that guy, which they didn't handle it all that great. While they have them all together, they're like, "Oh, by the way, we're gonna start marking everything down to half price tonight." And they're like, "Wow, we're closing the store, we're selling the store, and you know, you're shit out of luck." So at this point, the night crew, they're all bummed out and everything, and they start getting things cleaned up and marking prices down and things like that. Um, and there's a lot of point of view shots. Looks like somebody's watching all of them and stuff like that. But not a whole lot happens. It bogs down a little bit. It slows down a little bit. Um, they all go on break at the same time. You get this great story from one of the owners slash managers, played by Danny Hicks, who is fucking fantastic. I love this is, and I said in one of the comments to somebody on TikTok, I believe it was. This is my favorite Danny Hicks. Um, he was, don't get me wrong, he was fucking great in Evil Dead 2. Um, but him in this movie playing this character, like he fits so well. And during the break, they're talking about how incompetent the police are, and the one guy's like, yeah, they're almost as bad as the fire department, and that pisses him off, um, because he used to be a volunteer firefighter apparently, and they asked him why he quit and or whatever, something like that, and he's like, oh yeah, last accident I went on, make anybody quit, and he tells this fucking disgusting story about how they went on this accident. There's a headless corpse laying there in the road, and they can't find the head. And one of the guys is like this fucking disgusting dude who's walking around eating a fucking cheeseburger while they're on this accident scene, and all of a sudden they turn around and this dude is walking with the head in his hand, holding it by the hair, and he's still eating his fucking cheeseburger. Um, I know motherfuckers who are more than willing to do that shit. It's just frowned upon these days. You can't have a cheeseburger while carrying a decapitated head. Um, I feel like it's unfair, but there's a lot of shit these days. But so he tells a really cool story, grosses everybody out, and then it's like, oh, okay, back to fucking work. So you get a meat hook kill. You get several fucking knifings. Ted Raimi's death is great. I wish that when he chopped the fucking headphones when he chopped into his head, I wish that it would have stopped that fucking song. It did not. You get a awesome head cut in half by a bandsaw, and it's not this way. It's right fucking here, and it looks fucking good. Practical effects. It looks fucking great, especially for fucking 1989. Um, but it's like one of those cringeworthy things. Like, it's like, god damn. While I'm talking about effects looking great, it was actually K and B who did the effects on this movie. They had took the charge completely and did the effects on this movie, and that's Kurtzman, Nicotero, and Berger. These guys, fucking legendary effects, like learned from people like Tom Savini and stuff like that, who literally pioneered the gore effects and everything of the horror genre as we know it today. Um, and of course, they do The Walking Dead and all that shit. I mean, they're fucking legends. And if for no other reason, if you haven't seen this, go watch it for the fucking effects because they're great. Just a Final Girl is the only one that's left. Jennifer. I haven't fucking said a character name yet. I don't even think I said Danny Hicks's character name. Bill Roberts is his character name. Remember the Bill Roberts thing though, because I got something on that later. Um, but so as far as she knows, she's the last one left. And Danny Hicks's character, Bill Roberts, ends up, basically coming out as the killer. And he tells her, I'm gonna kill you too. And she fights back, and There's some great kind of cat and mouse, her hiding, running, hiding. There's when she first finds out he's the killer, and she takes off running. I don't know if it was him or stunt double. I'm not sure. Um, but rather than just running behind her, he starts jumping from cash register stand to cash, like where your groceries will ride the conveyor belt. He's jumping from one to another, and he's fucking keeping up with her. I would face fucking plant somewhere for sure, break my goddamn nose and jaw and every goddamn. So if that was Danny Hicks, fucking bravo, because I'd never would have been able to do that shit. I would have fucking killed myself, broke my goddamn neck, I guarantee you. The kind of cat and mouse scene, there's one part where she sees Danny, the not Danny Hicks, but the other owner. She sees like his arm and head laying at the end of the aisle, and he's begging for help, and she tries to run up, and it's Danny Hicks's character. It's Bill Roberts stands up, holding the head, uh, gives it a kiss on the cheek, and then as she's backing down the aisle,
Here comes fucking Parker, walking down 9 Mile, swinging a goddamn head by the hair in one hand and his sandwich in the other.
he's got a fucking sandwich in his bloody left hand, and he's eating that shit, swinging a head back and forth, walking down the aisle. That is my favorite scene of this movie. It is fucking to have that story earlier, and it just seems kind of like a gross out moment. And then to follow it up, and he's actually doing what he was saying this other guy was doing. It's fucking great. It's you can't beat that scene. Some people might disagree with me. You might watch it, find a totally different scene that you think is the best scene of this movie. That is my absolute favorite scene of this movie. So while we're talking about that story, have you ever seen Raising Arizona? It's a comedy. You know, doesn't really seem like it would be connected, right? Um, but I'm going to tell you something. Raising Arizona and Intruder happen in the same universe. Emmett Walsh, who has a small part in Raising Arizona, tells the same story to Nicolas Cage's character. Bill Roberts tells the story in Intruder. He's talking about Bill Parker is the guy who does it. And when Emmett Walsh's character is telling the story in Raising Arizona, he says,
In the state highway system. Not actually practicing, you understand. And me and Bill are patrolling down 9 Mile.
Bill Roberts?
No, not that mother scratcher, Bill Parker. Anyway, we're approaching the wreck, and there's this spherical object resting in the highway. And it's not a piece of the car. So here's Bill walking down 9 Mile. That's Bill Parker, you understand? And he's got his sandwich in one hand and the fucking head in the other.
he and Nicolas Cage's character, High, both know Bill Roberts, who's the killer and Intruder. Fucking mind blowing. The reason for that is if you've seen Raising Arizona, it's made by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, and Joel Coen actually helped with editing The Evil Dead, the first one. And that's actually, if you've seen Raising Arizona, you'll notice the same shot as, what's supposed to be the point of view of the demon, moving real fast through the trees, through the woods and everything. They, like, Joe Cohen actually took that idea and did a point of view chasing Nicolas Cage's character through this long drug out scene in Raising Arizona, and it's pure cinematic gold. I don't care what anybody says, both in Evil Dead and in Raising Arizona. But so that story was told to Joel Cohen, and then he turned around and used that in Raising Arizona, which I think was 87 or something like that. It was sometime before they made Intruder. Um, and, Scott Spiegel knew that they had already used that story in Raising Arizona. He's like, fuck it, I'm going to use it too. So because of that, because he didn't care if it had been used already or not, they now exist in the same universe. And Nicolas Cage's character and Emmett Walsh's character and Daniel Higgs's character, they all know each other. They were all buddies, apparently. So pretty cool little thing there. But yeah, so ultimately at the end, it turns out Jennifer's ex is still alive, and he helps take out Bill Roberts, the killer. And finally, the cops show up, and so the cops start arresting them. And Bill Roberts opens his eyes and says, "They did it. They killed everybody." And this is where you get the Bruce Campbell cameo. He's one of the cops, and he goes in and he comes back out a few seconds later and says, "There's blood and ass everywhere." They think Bill Roberts is dead, and then they turn her around and he opens his eyes and she screams. Roll credits. So the killer is never dead at the end. Don't ever think the killer is dead at the end. I don't care if they've blown him the fuck up and he's in little pieces all over the place. Somehow or another, he will reform together and be alive at the end. This movie is amazing. If like I said, if nothing else, the special effects are fan fucking tastic. Do not go into this movie expecting elevated horror or what the fuck ever y'all are calling that shit nowadays. This is a good old fashioned true blue slasher that should get a lot more attention than it has gotten over the years. So check it out. Right now, it is free to watch, streaming on Tubi. I didn't even know about this movie for fucking years. I just recently, in the last few years, seen it for the first time. But that's what. If y'all got anything to add, this wasn't like a deep dive or anything. This was just kind of covering some bases and talking about these movies a little bit. If y'all got extra stuff, cool little stories and stuff like that to share about these movies, or even like if you did see it back in the day, or the first time you saw it, you have some sort of memory or story to go along with that. Fucking share it, man. Let's talk about it. Because that's why me and Henry started doing this stuff, because we want to engage with other fans and listen to what y'all have to say and just have fun together. That sounds dirty. With that being said, thanks for hanging out for a few minutes with me and talking about these movies.
Son, you got a panty on your head.
Just drive fast, eh?